Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor. Just in case this is your first time watching, I do post new nail tutorials every week. Today I'll be working on this really cute lit AF acrylic ombre nail design with some encapsulated flowers and some bling. Everything that you need in some nails, right? Now this design was actually inspired by the March Birthstone, which is aquamarine. I did ask you guys if you're interested in seeing this video still. You all said yes, so here it is. As promised, now this design is a design that Femi came up with. If you don't already know, this is a collaborative series that we have been working on. So I will have this stunning design linked in my description box as well as on my end screen. So after you finish watching this video, of course, head on over to Femi's channel, check this video out and show her some love. And I know you guys are ready and excited to see this video, so let's go. Getting right into today's video, I already did the application on my right hand using my non-dominant hand off camera, which is what I would usually do once I'm doing both my hands, so that way I have a guide to follow when I'm doing the opposite hand. So taking a medium grit sanding band and my diamond mandrel bit by Kiara Sky, I'm going to go around the cuticle area and sidewalls. I'm also going to use this bit to remove the shine from my natural nails. I am working with my Kiara Sky Beyond Pro E-File, and I do have her at about 4,000 RPMs. And this is the speed that I feel most comfortable with doing all of my prep work on the natural nail plate. Now I'm not leaving my sanding band in one spot. I am moving it around so that way I don't damage my natural nails. And this is all I'm going to be doing to prep my nails today. I don't want my nails to stay on that long, so therefore I'm not going to go in with my detailed prep. However, if you guys are interested in seeing how I prep the natural nails for any nail enhancements, whether it be gel or acrylics to prevent them from lifting, I would link that video in my description box below, so you guys can definitely go ahead and check that video out as well. After doing this, I'm going to take my Kiara Sky dust brush and I'm just going to remove all the heavy dust. Now I'm going in with my XXL straight C-curved square nail tips, and I do have these featured on my Amazon storefront. Now you guys have been seeing me working with this for quite some time and I'm really loving them. So what I would usually do is before I apply them on my nail, I will go in and trim the sides with my straight edge nail clipper, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply them. Because it's such an extreme C-curve and my nail plate is flat, I do need to minus a little bit of that C-curve. So I'm going to be taking my Macart brush on nail glue and I'm going to be applying all my tips. So as soon as I rest that glue on, I'm just literally gluing down the center so that way I can tilt the tip to the sides if I need to, just to make sure that they are nice and straight. And this is one thing I love about the Macart nail glue. It gives me about 2 seconds just to go in and straighten that nail tip, but once you hold it in place, it is going to stay there. It's not going to move and I'm not going to be able to shift it or tilt it. So that is why I work really quickly when applying my nail tips. On a run from my given disaster, speed away from the holy mind, pride. Taking my nail tip clippers, I'm just going to take these down just a little bit. I did really and truly want to try these at their full length, but I think I'll be crazy because even doing it at this length, like, it was a little bit strange to get accustomed to, but I loved it. After trimming down all the nails on this hand, I do fold a fist to make sure that all the nails are the same length. So now I'm taking my Kiara Sky 80 grit rectangular hand file and I'm just going to line the nail tip up with my natural nails. And this is just to make sure that there is a seamless transition between my natural nails and the nail extension, and you can't tell where one stops and where one begins. I'm also going to use this same hand file just to go across the free edge of the nail extension. And because I already pre-cut the sidewalls of the nail tips, I don't need to use my nail file to taper them in anymore, but I am going to use my file to make sure that where I cut is nice and straight. Going back in with my medium grit sanding band, I'm going to use this to blend the artificial tip into my natural nail. Now again, I am moving my e-file from side to side, sometimes up and down, just to make sure that that blend happens way faster. And I'm not touching my nail plates with this at all, nor am I leaving my e-file in one spot. I'm also working with my drill at the same 4000 RPMs to do this step. When I'm finished with that blending, I did take my Sky dust brush and remove the heavy dust. I'm going to spray with my alcohol and cleanse with this manicure brush bit. I absolutely love this bit, and it makes sure that it gets all the dust out of every single crease in the nail. Now I'm taking my JC Beauty Concepts Extra Bonder, and that is their primer, and I'm going to be applying 2 coats of this to my natural nail plate. Now I do allow the first coat to completely dry, and then as I apply that second coat, I start laying my acrylic while the primer is still tacky. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, you would have already seen me show you guys this brush so many times. This is the new Sky acrylic brush. Today I'll be using the number 10 Kolinsky, and I'm starting off with a thin layer of clear acrylic to my natural nail plate, and I'm just going to make sure that my foundation is nice and smooth, remove any excess I would have gotten on my sidewalls or in my cuticle area, and I'm just going to do this to all the nails. Now I absolutely love this brush. It's not an oval brush, it is round, which is strange for me. I thought it would have been difficult for me to work with it, but it wasn't. I did feel as though I was working with an oval brush, probably because it is a number 10. I do have a number 12 as well, which I probably should have used it because of the length of these nails. The set would have gone by so much faster. But every single product that I use in today's video and in all my videos, I would have a very detailed description box. You guys can definitely go ahead and check that out, and I truly appreciate everyone that has purchased based on the recommendations. I don't recommend anything to you guys that I do not use on a daily basis. For my application today, I am using the Sky EMA liquid monomer, as well as this all-in-one acrylic powder. This one is called Off the Grid, and I'm starting with a medium-sized bead of acrylic, and I'm just placing it right where my natural nail and the extension would meet. Now I am going to be covering this entire nail in this color, so what I'm doing is I'm working with medium-sized beads of acrylic until I cover the entire nail. After placing down the first bead of acrylic, I did blend the excess of that shade all the way towards the free edge, or as much as possible towards the free edge of the nail extension, and I did take a second medium-sized bead and place it right where the first bead of acrylic had stopped. Made sure that there's no harsh lines, and I blend them really well into each other, and then I start working the acrylic all the way to the free edge of the nail tip. making sure to continuously wipe my brush, make sure to keep those bristles nice and clean, and remove any excess acrylic if there is any. Look at the nail from all different angles, and if I see that I missed any spots, because of how I'm recording, I did miss a little bit on this side. I went in with small wet beads of acrylic and just blended them into the acrylic that has already started to set. Now I'm taking another medium-sized bead of acrylic and I'm going to place it right behind the first bead that we laid down, not up towards the cuticle area, but I am going to be working this bead with the tip of my brush up towards my cuticle. This is just to make sure that I don't flood the cuticle or get any of that product on my skin. If I do get it on my skin, I'm going to start removing that acrylic as soon as I get a chance to do so. I work my brush in a C formation to remove any excess product along my side walls and cuticle area, and you want to do this before the product starts to set. Because the Kiara Sky acrylic system is a medium setting system, I do have time to work with it, so therefore I don't go rushing to remove any excess product right away. I do give myself a few minutes before I start sweeping around the cuticle area, and moving your brush in a C formation is going to also help to seal the acrylic in at the same time. Now, I do not apply my acrylics thick at all. I do like to still have them on the thinner side, especially on my own self, because I still need to go in and encapsulate. And when you're working on the extreme C-curve tips, because it's straight and sculpted, it does take a little more product than a regular nail tip. So even though you think you're seeing me applying a lot of product on this nail, it is still nice and thin enough for me to go ahead and encapsulate. For my ombre nails, I am starting with off the grid, and I'm placing a bead right where my natural nail and the extension would meet, patting the acrylic evenly from sidewall to sidewall, and then lightly feathering the excess acrylic up towards the free edge of the nail tip. Now I'm going to take a second medium-sized bead of the same color, and I'm going to be placing it right where the first set of acrylic stopped, making sure there are no harsh lines and blending the two beads of acrylic into each other. You'll see me wiping my brush. When you wipe your brush, it just makes it easier for the acrylic not to stick to the brush. So every time I go in and I start patting the acrylic to work it down to the free edge of the extension, I will wipe the excess acrylic off of my brush, and this is just going to prevent the acrylic that is on the nail from sticking to the acrylic that is in the bristles of the brush. It's also going to help your brush to last longer. So if I see that I need any more of the color, which I did on one side of the nail, which I'm not seeing as I'm recording, so I do turn my finger around just to make sure that it's fully covered. I'm just going to apply small but wet beads. Wet beads are going to make it easier to blend back into the acrylic that has already started to set. When I'm happy with this, I am going to leave it and repeat the same steps to all the ombre nails. And before we go any further with today's design, please make sure that you click on that subscribe button down below if you have not done that as yet, and click the notification bell right next to that big red subscribe button so that we get notified as soon as I put up a new video. So for my ombre today, I am using Etiquette First by Kiara Sky, and I'm starting with a small wet bead and I'm placing it right on top of where the off the grid stopped on my natural nail plate, and I'm lightly feathering that color up towards the free edge of the nail tip. Now, I do not know where the footage went for the rest of this application, but I'll show you guys it on the other two ombre nails. So I'm taking a small wet bead of Etiquette First and I'm placing it right on top of where that off the grid stopped on my natural nail plate, and I start lightly feathering it up towards the nail tip. Taking a second bead and placing it right behind that, and I start feathering it immediately before that acrylic starts to even set. This is just going to help with a nice smooth transition between the two shades, making sure to clean up the sidewalls of the nail extension as well as look at the nails from every single angle, just to make sure that you have a nice even transition. So I just laid down another small bead closer to the corner of the nail where I'm not seeing again, and I just blended that up towards the off the grid, and now I'm placing down my cuticle bead, pushing it up towards the cuticle with the tip of my brush, and I'm also going to do that same C formation with my brush at a 90-degree angle to make sure that I seal in that cuticle area as well as remove any product that would have gotten over on my sidewalls before it starts to set. I'm just going to go ahead and repeat the same thing on this nail. Now, the reason why I'm feathering it up towards the center of the nail, and I'll show you guys a side profile of what the nails look like. I build up the cuticle area with the Etiquette First, so that way I don't have to encapsulate down towards the cuticle so that it won't end up being too thick. However, I blend out the transition between the Etiquette First and that off the grid because I want that area to be nice and flat. If it's nice and flat, when you go in to encapsulate, the nail is not going to end up too thick. So I'll show you guys a side profile and you would see there's a dip in the acrylic from the Etiquette First to the off the grid at the tip of the nail, and that is the area where I'm going to be encapsulating with my clear acrylic powder.
You're gone now, will you coming back? Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that. You're the traveling kind, it's a known fact. Yeah, I know that. Once you've seen all the things, all the places, I hope it means that you'll come home to me. Once you've traveled the world, all the spaces inside your heart, I hope I'll be your end destination.
Taking my macabre brush on nail glue, this plastic baggie, and these really cute dried flowers from the Veronique shop. Now, you guys already know she does have the most amazing dried flowers, and I do love the variety that she offers on her website. So I will leave her link below as well as my discount code so you guys can go ahead and use it to save yourself some extra cash. I did select a few colors I thought would have paired really nicely with today's set, and I'm just going to be freestyling this design, randomly placing these flowers. I am overlapping some of them until I'm happy with the way that it looks, and then I'm just going to move on to the next step. So here's a really quick tip. Once you're using nail glue to be encapsulated inside of anything, whether it be gel or acrylic, you do have to wait for that nail glue to dry completely, because if you go in and that glue is still wet, any moisture that gets on the nail glue, it is going to leave a white cast. So while I wait for that glue to dry, I'm going to go in with some of my gold foil as well as the Kiara Sky Sprinkle On Glitter, and this one is called a Snow Cone, and I'm just randomly placing those around my flowers across the tip, but I'm not covering the entire tip. I still want that glass see-through effect. For me, once I'm doing anything encapsulated, it just needs to have a whimsical effect. Like, that's just me. So now that my glue is dried, I'm taking small wet beads of clear acrylic and I'm going to be applying this to the entire nail. Now this step is not the encapsulation as yet. I'm just doing this to make sure that the clear acrylic gets into any creases so that when I go in to encapsulate, I don't get any bubbling in my clear nail. So while I allow that to set, I'm going to go in and encapsulate the rest of my nails. So while I'm encapsulating, I wanted to show you guys the side profile of the ombre nails. You see where I just placed that bead of clear acrylic, that is where the dip is on the nail. So the clear acrylic is not going to be like brushed up towards the cuticle or blended down that much towards the free edge. I do want it to stay right there and then lightly feather it to the cuticle and then up to the free edge of the nail tip, therefore eliminating that dip in my acrylic and making sure that everything is nice and straight, nice and flush, and that nail does not end up too thick.
You're gone now, will you coming back? Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that. You're the traveling kind, it's a known fact. Yeah, I know that. Once you've seen all the things, all the places, I hope it means that you'll come home to me. Once you've traveled the world, all the spaces inside your heart. I hope I'll be your end destination. I hope I'll be your life-changing sensation. I hope I'll be something that you won't let go. I'll be your high when you fall down low. I hope I'll be your end destination. You're far away and yet so close. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, you're up in space.
This is what the application looks like on both hands. So now it's time to file these babies back into shape. I am using my Kiara Sky 100 grit and my Kiara Sky 80 grit rectangular hand files. And I'm only showing you guys all the filing on my thumbnail alone. I'm going to go off camera, file all my nails, and then I'll meet you guys back. So I'm starting with the Kiara Sky 80 grit rectangular hand file. And what I do is I loosen up the skin right where the actual artificial tip and my natural side walls start. Because sometimes you can get some product and it will make like a lip right there. So you do need to gently pull back your skin. So this is me getting the file into that space and lightly filing that. So I start underneath the nail so you can see the file is lying down, and then I'm going to work it to the point where I'm watching the side profile of my hand file. It's the same thing when I'm straightening out the free edge of the extension. I'm watching directly at the side profile of my hand file. I'm not watching at the flat part of the file where the writing is, and I really and truly hope that makes sense. So after doing that, I'm going to take my 100 grit hand file, and because I take my time and lay my acrylic nice and smooth, I don't really have that much filing to do on myself because I hate filing my own nails. So I'm just going to take that and go over the entire surface of the nail. Like the file dust is going to show you if there's any imperfections, because you would see where you have filed and you would see where your file have missed. So you just want to focus on that every so often, checking to make sure that everything is nice and even.
I can feel you. Once you've seen all the things, all the places, I hope it means that you'll come home to me. Once you've traveled the world, all the spaces inside your heart.
So as you guys can see now that it's nice and even, I am now going in with the Kolinsky 5-in-1 medium carbide bit, and I do have my e-file at about 7,000 RPMs, and all I'm going to do with this bit is I'm going to seal in the cuticle area even more. Sometimes I will go along the sides of the nail extension just to make sure that I get any product that would have sneaked its way underneath the nail or towards the sides of the nail, and I didn't get it with my hand file. So that is what I'm going to use this bit to do as well, just clean up underneath there, and this is also going to help crisp up that shape even more.
I hope I'll be your destination.
Now, if you cannot do it in one motion like what I just did, please take your time and do it like what I'm showing you now, nice short strokes. And again, for the final time, I'm going to go back in with the Etiquette hand file, and I'm just going to redefine the shape of these nails. Now, doing this part, you guys can see how nice and clean and crisp that shape is. And now I'm taking my pink buffer. Now, this is also by Kolinsky, and I did cut it because I don't need to use a whole buffer on my nails. I really don't have that much filing to do, so I do cut it when it comes to doing my own nails. These are disposable, so when I'm finished with it, it's just to toss it out. And that is what the shape of my nails look like. Here they are all finished filed, and I'm really loving this shape lately, guys. So again, I'm taking my 99% alcohol and my brush bit, and I'm going to cleanse these nails. So now I'm going to sprinkle on some bling, and I'm using my favorite bling adhesive, which is the McCart Rhinestone glue, and I absolutely love it. These stones do not move, and these stones that I'm using on the nails today are the new Kolinsky Bling It On rhinestones, and this one is called Northern Lights. I do have an unboxing as well as a really quick review coming up on these crystals for you guys, and maybe I will do the unboxing on my live, so we'll see how that goes. After applying my crystals, I am going in with the Kolinsky non-wipe gel top coat, and I'm going to cover the entire nail, making sure to go around my crystals. I do not go over them with my top coat, and then I'm just going to remove any excess gel from the sides of my nail to help maintain the shape of these nails, straighten out my stones, and then I'm going to pop them into the Kolinsky Beyond Pro Rechargeable LED light, and I'm going to cure them in place for a full 30 seconds.
You're the traveling kind, it's a known fact. Yeah, I know that.
So on this nail, I'm going to be doing some cuticle rhinestone placements. However, I do not like to go in after I do my cuticle stones with top coat, because that top coat floods the front of the rhinestones closest to the cuticle, and it just doesn't look nice. So I went in over that wet rhinestone glue with my non-wipe gel top coat, and before curing, I'm going to place some of the stones, and then I'm going to go ahead and cure this for another 30 seconds. And because swirls are trending as nail art these days, I decided to do a swirl of the rhinestones. So starting with the larger sizes to the middle, and then sizing down as you come closer to the tip and the cuticle area. Now at the cuticle, I did have way too much gel down there to place these smaller stones, so I just went in and placed them closer to the free edge. Now I'm taking my clean up brush, and I'm going to remove some of the excess gel closest to the cuticle. If I were to place the rhinestones in that much gel, the gel gel will actually cover over the rhinestones and you would lose the definition of them. So you do want to keep that in mind with the amount of actual bling gel that you have on the nail compared to the size of the stone that you're using. After I do this, I'm going to go around my crystals with my non-wipe gel top coat, and I'm going to cure my rhinestones for 30 seconds. So now I'm taking my Macart foil glue, and I actually really love this foil glue. Like, it's my favorite right now, and they did kind of reformulate it so it's not as thick as it used to be before. So I'm just applying this to the entire nail. I was just going to apply it in 2 spots, but I'm not sure exactly where I wanted to place the foil butterflies, and I'm going to cure this nail for 60 seconds. And the butterflies I went ahead and pre-cut are from this foil kit by Macart, and I would also add it to the links in my description box. So I'm just randomly placing these 2 butterflies over the glass effect part of the nail. One is sort of going to start by overlapping the flowers, and the other one is going to be on that glass tip, and I'm just going to rub it in until it completely transfers. Peel the excess off, and then I'm going to take my Kiara Sky non-wipe gel top coat and I'm going to coat over this nail for the final time. I also went ahead and coated underneath the glass nail. It is just going to help to give that true glass effect. Clean up any excess around the cuticle area and to maintain the shape of that nail, and then I'm going to pop it in the light and give it a full cure for 60 seconds. And my final step is to apply my cuticle oil. So I'm taking this Kiara Sky natural cuticle oil, and I love the smell of this, and it's not oily. It absorbs so nicely into my skin. And this is what the final set looks like. I absolutely love this set. This was also like my anniversary set. It was like 2 in 1. To all my March babies, I know the video is late, but I do want to wish you guys a very happy belated birthday. And if you enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you're stuck with me to this point, leave me a butterfly emoji with your comments in the comment section below. Head on over to Femi's channel, check this video out, and show her some love. As always, I hope you guys are having an amazing day or night, whatever time it is where you're watching from right now. I would love for you guys to stay glamorous, be safe, and I'll see you soon.